Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcasts. By popular or unpopular demand, doing a comparison video today. I sort of like doing these as it lets me talk about AMP as well as introduce a new crypto without doing a standalone video about it. Today we are tackling the thorny issue of AMP versus COTI. Gonna highlight the pluses, the minuses, where they are similar and where they are wildly different, and we'll give you my final thoughts at the end of the video. And as we are talking about AMP and Flexa, you know what? Got to play for the home team here. This one is a little tricky to drill down into, not because it's complex, but because it's not really a fair comparison to call it an AMP versus COTI video. It would be much more accurate to call it a COTI versus Flexa comparison. AMP is not a payment system. It is a collateral system. Flexa is using AMP to collateralize crypto spends. And that is a single use case for AMP and not all that it can do. COTI is a single payment token. And although it might be able to be applied to other use cases, as it sits in its current incantation, it is a payment processing token. It's important to remember that as I take this apart a bit. This is a comparison of a single aspect of AMP as utilized by the Flexa network. Is my bias showing here? Is it? A little bit. I'm wearing their t-shirt. I'm an AMP guy, and I think AMP has a lot more potential than collateralizing crypto spends. That's why I invest in it. That's why I invest so heavily in it. All right, AMP, Flexa versus COTI right after this. All right, we're going to start with COTI. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. COTI. We're going to start with COTI because this is an AMP channel and COTI is our guest. So we will give them the first go. For all intents and purposes, COTI is a digital payment rail. And that really is it in a nutshell. From their website, in an era of everything digital, they have the quotes too, everything digital, currencies remain outdated. Currently, it is cheaper to pay in cash than to use banks, PayPal, Alipay, and the like. COTI is the first enterprise-grade fintech platform that empowers organizations to build their own payment solution and digitalize any currency to save time and money. Fantastic summarization, front page of their website. But what is it? It intends to cut out the middleman. Literally. They say that many times. Eliminate the middleman. That's your Visa. That's your MasterCard. That's your legacy pay rails. Now, I see huge value and huge problems in trying to do this. Huge value is simply cost per transaction. Visa is 3 to 4%. Amex is 3 to 5%. We have covered this in depth on some of our AMP videos, and I still see massive value over time to cutting them out. They are dated, they are vulnerable, and they are expensive. So any entity that seeks to cut them out and build a better way, big fan, big fan. I ultimately wished that it was the intent of Flexa to do that very thing. And they could certainly do that with AMP acting as the collateral between the merchant and the issuing bank for fiat credit card transactions. But if that is their future, they haven't mentioned it. COTI is not collateralizing the transaction per se, but COTI is used as fuel to process the transaction on the COTI network while also providing instant settlements. While the network is in its infancy, the cost for the network, the base layer, is set to 0 while the network matures. After it has matured a little bit, there will be a fee applied to each transaction. The merchant pays the nodes, and the network gets a small piece from the nodes. So it's all about volume for them, turnover. However, and this is kind of a big however, they are going to run into the same issues that I think Flexa is going to run into, and that is adoption. It's great to have a better way, and both systems do. but it is another thing to get it implemented. Now, interestingly, COTI is also going to try and go the stablecoin method. They mention it many times in their white paper. But they are going to be using their own version of a stablecoin. It will process traditional stablecoins, USDC, DAI, etc. But they kind of want to keep it in-house. This feels a bit like a company script to me. A stablecoin is a stablecoin with a constant rate to some real-world asset. It means that the supply of a stablecoin cannot be fixed, and they must be minted and burned according to market movements. This is both advantageous and sketchy, a little bit sketchy at the same time for COTI. It's advantageous because if you are dealing with COTI stablecoins, they must be spent on the COTI network. Fantastic when it's fully implemented, but it's a bit of a bother while it's growing because your spending destinations are limited. Now, it's sketchy for the same reason, because you are dealing with COTI stablecoins, and you can only use them where they are accepted. You see that? You like that one? Double-edged advantage and disadvantage. However, if they are on network, COTI can offer consumer rewards. It's their coin. They control the value, and it can be adjusted to reward both consumers and merchants. Now, they're upfront with the merchants, providing an interest payment for the amount of COTI coins, call them COTI coins, they are holding in reserve, and I can't help but think it will be similar with the consumers, although they don't mention that outright. Now, COTI also offers multi-dag stablecoins, which are specialized coins originated by enterprises that need their own currencies. They are used for loyalty programs, discounts, coupons, and more. Again, though, we are coming around to stablecoins, and you guys know my views on those. If it is a stablecoin pegged to anything but fiat currency, I'm all ears. Tell me about it. Sell me. Make me a believer. If it is pegged to fiat, you lost me. But with multi-dag, this is a token issued by a particular enterprise, and it will have its own rules. It makes me think someone like Amazon or another large online merchant, they should pick up the phone. I'm just saying. Look, in summary, I think COTI could be onto something here, but it is going to be a very long road to hoe. They are going to run into the same issues that Flexa is going to run into, and Flexa is not trying to reinvent the currency wheel here. They're just trying to process it. I'm trying to get out of this video, but there is so much more to get to. You know, I might have to do it in multiple parts. Is COTI a direct competitor to Flexa? Oh, yeah, you bet. Are they doing it the same way that Flexa is doing it? Not at all. Flexa is nothing if not simple in its applications. And I don't know, maybe it is this simplicity that will put it over the top long term. We're going to have to wait and see. The advantage I see in COTI is that they are a self-enclosed payment ecosystem. They are also an anything in and anything out ecosystem. They are willing and able to process fiat, which is a big deal for me. I can't say I'm crazy about the handcuffs that they are effectively putting on merchants. It's kind of a captured audience thing at that point. Makes me think of ACH a little bit, but I get why they are doing it. I can definitely see COTI developing a niche market, and their success or failure will depend on how large that niche is. But the competitors to Flexa are going to be the same competitors to COTI. So if it is an uphill climb for Flexa, and it is, it's going to be an uphill climb for COTI as well. I have more to say on this, folks. I haven't really even started turning over all the rocks. So let's call this part 1, and you know what? We'll see how the video does. If you want to hear a part 2 and get into the tokenomics, this is a direct competitor to Flexa and to AMP. Leave a comment. I will depart with one parting shot. COTI tokens are locked for a short time when you stake them, but they will pay you 15% at the low end. I'm just saying. Live stream on Thursdays and member stream on Saturdays, both at 1900 Central. Hope you guys like this one. Cheers.